Thanks for coming by. Thanks for stopping at my channel. My name is Adele. I do private readings, so if you want a private reading and you want to know how to get in touch with me, the information is down below. I want to talk today about violence in America, but not violence as we think of from humans, but the violent weather that we're having. I'm using America's chart of July the 4th, 1776, with the Gemini rising set for 2:15 a.m. in the morning. That's when America was born through the Declaration of Independence. America has Uranus and Mars in the first house. Uranus rules tornadoes, and Mars, of course, rules a lot of violence. So you put those two together, and you're going to get some very violent weather. It shows that much of this is going to be happening kind of southeast, but all of us are going to get some of it because so much wind is going to be involved in it, and fire too. On the 3rd of June, America is going to have a new moon in that first house. So you're going to have Sun, Moon, Mars, and Uranus affecting our country. Now, it says it's going to be more southwest, but I'm noticing it's north, south, east, and west. It's everywhere. Now, what can we do about this? Well, I kind of think back to this, that climate change is really real. And as individuals, everybody's going to have to do their part to stop some of this. I'm over some of the young people now talking about climate change and how they want to make this a real issue. It is an issue. I think about California. California, out of Carolyn Dobson's book on horoscopes of the U.S. cities and states. California, the birth chart of September the 9th, 1850, gives her a cluster of Saturn, Pluto, and Uranus, all in the sign of fire. And as we know, for the last 7 years, it's almost as if the whole state of California was trying to burn down. Now, with Uranus having left Aries, Uranus in Aries, every time it hit this, it set it off. So I do believe with Uranus having left the sign of Aries, you probably not going to have as many fires in California as we have had over these last 7 years. Probably more water, floods, because Neptune, and involved in all this bad weather, this weather change, I should say. I don't know whether it's bad or good. I don't know whether it's for a reason spiritually. We got Mars, Uranus, we got Pluto, we got the South Node in Capricorn, and we got that cluster, Pluto, Saturn, South Node. You got Neptune, you got Jupiter. Jupiter is considered the ruler of the weather. So you got Neptune of flooding waters, and you got Jupiter of big. That's why everything is so big. You got Pluto tearing up the ground. If you notice, all the trees are just coming up out of the concrete wherever and just falling on houses. And these particular weather patterns are very dangerous because you got such dangerous planets involved in them. This is going to go on without a lot of changes until Neptune leaves Pisces, where it's very, very well situated because it's in its own sign. Jupiter in Sag is in its own sign. So these are two powerful things, and both of these have to do with the weather. Neptune is all the flooding, and of course Jupiter's let's make it as big as we can get it. I do believe that we will get a little rest from some of this violent weather coming into maybe early Leo. When some of the planets go into Leo, that might curtail some of this bad weather that we're getting. But until that time, we need to be working with our legislators and encouraging them to get back with the different countries that are trying to do something about the weather. We don't need to be hanging out there by ourselves. because we're going to be in for some real challenges here. Benjamin Franklin, everyone has said that, not everyone, but it has been determined that he was an astrologer. And there's such a thing in astrology, it's called an election chart. And I do believe that, thinking about them 2:15 in the morning, sitting there debating on what should we do as far as setting up the chart with the people in the room that were astrologers. Let's put Mars and Uranus in the first house. And of course, I think they were thinking about the fact that the young nation was going to have a real problem trying to succeed from England. So they put violence, guns, all kind of weapons in her hands and ammunition to give her the will to survive, not knowing as time would go by that these same aspects would bring guns into the hands of our children, because Gemini also rules high school. Mars and Gemini, Uranus, we've had more shootings at some of these high schools. Just seems like, well, let's shoot up the place and see how much destruction that we can cause. But, however, I do believe if our country gets back with the countries that's trying to do something about this weather and realizing that climate change is really here, and we as individuals can do everything that we can, like where we do deal with our recycles. Make sure that we recycle everything and not leave stuff laying around that can add to this. So do your part. Talk with your legislators and see if you can encourage them to do their part. And until next time, happy recycling to all of us, and do everything that we can to make sure that we as individuals do what we can to help. And until next time, happy recycling.